Hey, everybody, it's Race Sundays, and this week we are in Suzuka, Japan. This is the RumblenBreak's card. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't too bad, but let me show you the other card that I actually play with. All right, with the magic of editing, or just pausing. This is the other card that I actually play with in a more competitive league. And yeah, I mean, you can see that 318 points, it's a lot more than the other card, which had the Red Bull McLaren. Red Bull Ferrari. This is actually the Ferrari McLaren. I actually kept this card the same as what it had last week, and it actually paid off greatly. This is actually one of the perfect cards you can get this week. I think Hulkenberg actually in the place of Lawson would just get you slightly more points. But let's talk about the race itself. All right. I mean, this was one of the interesting races. I mean, this is one of the races where it's actually overnight. It starts at like 1 o'clock in the morning on Sunday.
Eastern Standard Time.
And
makes the Europeans get up early to watch.
Exactly, yeah. It's everyone had to get up early to watch, to be honest, right?
Well, we stayed up late, but yeah.
Yeah, so...
Which was a debate, because last year we didn't, which was a wise decision because it was rain. There was rain, and they were delayed like 2 hours or something crazy.
Yeah.
Suzuka, I don't know. I don't know what the stats are with this track, but I feel like it's more often rainy than not. Like, I feel like it's a little bit like Spa and that it's often quite wet, but this weekend was completely dry, which was really nice.
Yeah, I mean, it was a fairly interesting track and race. I think they changed up a few little things on the track. The changed up a little bit, not too much, from what I heard from the commentators. So.
I'm not sure. I'm actually not sure if they changed. If the track was adjusted or was more... Well, we heard all about the spiders, which was interesting.
The yellow spiders.
Apparently this is like a random funny thing that was coming up during qualifying, but apparently there are these really large, like the size of your thumb, yellow spiders that live like down one part of the track, like off the side, and I guess the photographers, when they're taking in filmers, don't like going down there. So anyways, qualifying was kind of I would say not much of an event. It wasn't like Singapore where everything was kind of messed up. It was pretty much status quo. I don't think there were any real big surprises.
I mean, the biggest thing was Oscar in second.
That's true. Okay.
I mean, Oscar in second is a big thing for me.
Yes, you are
being a big fan. Oscar fan.
I mean, but to me, that's not really a surprise. McLaren's the let's say the march up the leaderboard McLaren's on continues. All the upgrades they've brought. It took a while, but they're all working. I mean, I definitely think McLaren has a shot with the way they're going right now to end up. I think they'll end up fourth. I don't think they can. I think right now it's Mercedes second behind Red Bull, Ferrari third, I believe, and it was Aston Martin. But I definitely think McLaren's going to take them. I don't even think they're in a competition with Alpine, and yeah, Gasly destroying his car during practice didn't help either.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah. So why don't we talk about the race while we open it up, because we did stay up for it. So
yeah, I mean, the reason why again I stayed up personally was because I got invested interest in watching Oscar, hopefully catching his first podium, and yeah.
So why don't we talk? Listen, it was a good race. It was a high tire degradation, so lots of strategy around tires. I think the story of this race, though, was number one, a ton of DNFs. I think in the end, 5, maybe 6 DNFs, if I recall.
Yeah, I mean, I think the DNFs that I noted for myself was that it was like, yeah, it was like Bottas, Stroll.
Yeah,
Sargent, Albon.
Williams wants to forget this weekend.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think a lot of the retirement fallout was the result of the very start of the race.
Yeah, so great.
Ooh, that's a really nice looking McLaren card.
Speaking of the start of the race, so you had Max on pole, big surprise. He's back to form. You had Oscar in second, Lando in third, and I mean, it was exciting, but they kept it clean at the front. Max got a good start. It looked like Oscar might get in there, but Max did his usual bullet over to the side to cut him off, and then Lando came out the outside but couldn't quite get Max, and
it's like a little Max sandwich.
It was a Max sandwich, yeah. But honestly, it was a very clean start from the front, and the Ferraris who were right behind were clean, and then chaos ensued.
Yeah, I mean, like
Perez went bowling.
The Perez wrecking ball. In the back, all you really saw was this puff of smoke and like stuff happening, but like the way the F1 had cut away, like you couldn't really tell what was going on. Smooth operator.
Well, they came back, but I mean, it was, I think so. Perez, I think Yuki got clear. Oh, that's funny. There's like two.
Yeah, one's pink and one's not.
That's the pink one.
It's just a special insert on that one, so that's neat.
Yeah, like.
I'm putting this aside,
Yuki was in the top 10, so that was a big news story because to start from qualifying because it's his home race, so that was really good for him. And Lawson was just outside; he just missed making it to the top 10. But yeah, it was. Anyways, there was a lot of damage on a lot of cars. It was actually kind of hard. I mean, Bottas was definitely one of them, but it was kind of hard to keep track.
Oh, Bottas was just, like people just knocking Bottas over left, right, and center. He got the same card again.
Oh, interesting. It's all about McLaren this weekend.
Yeah, they know.
And and I mean, you had Stroll.
Basically the same card. Oh no, it's slightly different.
Yeah, Stroll had a retirement too.
Yeah, I mean the reason I put Stroll's card here was because I think someone had mentioned. They basically someone's slowing down.
Oh yeah, that's the theory.
The theory behind it is that they're slowing down Alonso's car on purpose because to make Stroll look a little bit better. Let us know if you know what your thoughts are on that conspiracy. If it is one at all.
There have been poor Logan Sargent. They're making jokes that Logan Sargent, not only did he knock into Bottas at one point, spun around, but he also had a retirement pretty early on, crashed out.
And he also crashed on qualifier too.
Yeah, he did. And they were joking, saying that it's like the Scooby-Doo thing where it's really he's really Latifi in disguise. But no, Sargent's not that bad, but it's just hard when you have Lawson and Piastri just standout rookies. That if you're any other rookie, it's tough.
That's cool. Tough. That's another McLaren. That's nice. That's a nice Danny Rick.
I mean, that's still the debate. I still think Lawson deserves a seat. The question is, is it in AlphaTauri or where should he be sitting? But I mean, the guy has been a super sub.
It's interesting because I think, if I'm not mistaken, the AlphaTauri signed Tsunoda for another.
Yeah.
I think at least another year, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Ricciardo was actually signed for next year, but I don't know. They're talking like he is. So the other weird thing in Japan that just reminds me of Perez kissing the trophy, which he did not do this weekend. The trophy was weird. Like Max, when he kissed the trophy, it lit up in his colors, and then the other guys were trying it, but none of theirs lit up. It was just Max's trophy. So, anyways, it was a weird thing.
Wow. So I mean,
Let's talk about Perez because Perez goes bowling in the beginning, damages his front wing, has to come in, switches his front wing, so that's wing number 2. Does some more damage, has to come in again, switches his front wing, so that's wing number 3.
Yeah.
And then ultimately, after just sending it on pretty much everybody who was back markers trying to get up to the front, ends up retiring, but not before they assign him a penalty, which was
basically almost 10 seconds because he had 2 5-second penalties
or something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, it was hard to keep track, to be honest. And then they, well, that's a nice Ferrari. They retire the car, and then halfway through the race, you see him getting back in the car, and then he sat in the garage for ever, and then he actually went back out to go around the track
to serve
his penalty, and then they put him back in the garage. It was the most bizarre thing. Apparently, it's legal. You can do that. You can unretire a car if your car's not damaged, but.
Well, I think it stems, watching some other videos, they were talking about how basically it stems back to the 80s and 90s where, cars were actually going back in the garage getting fixed and stuff like that. So I guess they didn't sort of change the rules there. The FIA might want to consider adjusting the rules to the more modern standards.
And it wasn't clear, it wasn't clear whether Red Bull was asking to do that so that Perez wouldn't have to serve the penalty next time, or whether it was... Oh my god, I totally thought that was Lando Norris' Ferrari shirt for a second. It does not look like Leclerc in the picture. It looks like a Norris. Ferrari had okay race. I think Russell tried. Well, that was the funniest thing. Let's talk about that for a second before we get to the winners of the race. The signs double jinx. That was hilarious. So in Singapore last week, if you guys remember, Sainz was leading and he used Norris and dragged him along, gave him DRS so that Hamilton and Russell can catch him. And Russell, of course, crashed out. Hamilton gets it. So then here you have Russell, who's tried to do a one-stopper on old tires, Mr. Smooth Operator himself.
Yeah.
And Sainz is trying to catch him. He was in, where did he finish? Sixth. He was in sixth.
Yeah.
He was in seventh at the time, and he's trying to catch Russell and Hamilton. And then they made Hamilton Russell invert because they knew Russell's tires were going to give out, so they let Hamilton get the clean air to get away. But then they're like, no, wait, go back, and give...
Save me.
Basically, yeah, give Russell DRS. So they tried it, and then it didn't work. But Sainz is hilarious because he's like on the radio going, hey, they tried my own trick against me, but it totally didn't work. He totally took Russell.
Failed. Like he totally
failed.
It's like if a shark's trying to catch like George Russell got devoured by the shark, Hamilton got devoured by Sainz, and it was not a contest. I mean, that's what I showed you earlier was like essentially almost perfect card. Like I don't know, for some reason I just thought that
on your card instead Leclerc would have been. Oh
no, Leclerc actually got better on that one because I actually picked Leclerc. I swapped out the signs, but it was interesting because
Toto's like, what is Ferrari doing for strategy? Let's copy it.
Yeah, exactly. They're Nikita Mazepin.
Yeah,
whatever. Seidel.
Yeah.
And another Danny Rick.
Well, and that's a McLaren, and they're Verstappen, so I mean, I think let's pause there.
Yeah, we'll pause there before the last pack.
Yeah.
And let's go Roy Nassani, no F2. Let's go through the winners.
Yeah.
Let's actually go look. Okay, I'm going to start from right to left. This is the winner. I mean, everyone knows that Verstappen won, right?
He's back. He had an off week in Singapore, but he's back. It wasn't even. I don't even think it was close. I was like 20 seconds to Norris.
Right, and then so in second we have Lando.
As I gave it away, but I mean that really shouldn't be a surprise. Anyone we've been talking about.
But I guess at the start of the video, the reason why I stayed up was to see whether Piastri could actually get his first podium, and he did. That's awesome. It was a fantastic race. Like
he's so calm too.
Very calm. Like he's very well. I guess he's very well groomed by Weber, right? So so it was a fantastic race. He got his first podium. Congratulations to Red Bull. First of all, I mean, they actually secured the constructor championship already.
That's true.
I think there's like 6 races left.
Verstappen pretty much has I mean, there's no question unless I don't know, somehow he gets taken out for the rest of the season. Like I think he's like at 600 points to like the next.
Something ridiculous, yeah.
The interesting thing is second because I believe. It's actually not, if I recall correctly, it's not Perez. I think it's Alonso second and Hamilton's third. So I think there's a potential that Hamilton can actually finish second. Like he's chasing Alonso down. Or maybe Perez is second and then Alonso. But anyways, it's interesting, folks, is the second place is still up for grabs, I would say.
K-Mag.
He actually had a decent race.
Oh
no, wait, Perez got him.
But I don't think he actually took. I
don't think he retired.
There you go, Logan Sargent.
Poor Logie Bear.
Oh.
I don't think he's going to retain a seat. Unfortunately, I think as much as Williams wants to keep him, he's just. He's not a bad driver. He's just the problem is in a season where you have both Piastri. Sitting there proving what a rookie should look like, and then Liam Lawson like jumping in as well and just like
crushing on a crappy car. Like,
oh my god, he almost got on the points. Like Liam Lawson came 11th, and actually Tsunoda came 12th. So I mean, there's kind of no excuse that.
Yeah, considering that I think the Williams is slightly better.
It's a faster car. If Albon's getting in the points most weeks where the car suits the track, then Sargent really doesn't get
think about this, right? Logan Sargent actually finished in 4th or 5th. I forget where in that driver standing in the F2 that season. So you got, I think, you got to make room for Theo. Theo
Pourchaire. You got Drogovic sitting there waiting to get in an Aston Martin, and I think unless Daddy gives up on...
I think you talked about talks being that, Drogovic could potentially be...
I don't think the wily old fox here, Alonso, who we just pulled, is... I don't think he's going to move out of the Aston Martin seat.
Perez.
So
So we've been watching the lollipop
Lollipop
moment.
F1.
F1. It's pretty funny with Perez. Like
Animated.
he kept saying that telling Verstappen to watch out for
How many overtakes you get this race? Oh, too bad.
Yeah. He was a wrecking ball, and oddly enough, it was the running of the bulls as well.
That's
so
this weekend in Spain, yeah. So there's some memes in there.
And last but not least, Lando.
Oh, that's a nice card.
That's a really nice card. It's like a business card. They should really use this as business cards. But yeah.
I'm Lando Norris. I'm an F1 driver.
Yeah, I think next race they're in Qatar. If I'm not mistaken.
They're in Qatar in 2 weeks.
In 2 weeks, so
sprint.
Yeah, so look, like sprint weekends are where you want to actually probably utilize some of the chips that you have in the fantasy. So look to doing that. I think McLarens, if you have McLarens and you think that they're not going to do as well in Qatar, perhaps swap it up. I mean, you definitely made some buku money. Like Piastri is actually up to $1.5 million dollars at this point. So
I think the McLarens are actually the solid bet because they're going to be in the top 10, even if they're not right up at the top. The question is, are you going for? And I mean, everyone's keeping Max, but the question becomes, do you do Ferrari or do you do Red Bull? Yeah. Because by going Ferrari, which is cheaper, it gives you more money to do other stuff.
Exactly, you get more drivers, but and actually. I mean, here's the funny thing, right? So when I showed you both cards, the Ferrari actually didn't finish too far back from the Red.
65 points, right?
Yeah, it's pretty much spot on at $6 million less, right? Yeah. So you could definitely afford better drivers. The only question is whether what's Perez doing at the end of it? Perez is the wild card. Sometimes he finishes in the top 10, and sometimes he doesn't, right? So only when he finishes in the top 10 will you actually max the points.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll see you in a few weeks. Have a great week, folks.